Good evening, friends. I'm filling in for the one and only Don Lemon. What's up, Lemonheads? It is an honor to be here. My name is Clay Kane. I am the host of the Clay Kane Show on Sirius XM Urban View, Channel 126. And it is just an honor to be here to fill in for the one and only Don Lemon. We have so many things going on right now that I want to be sure that we cover. I just want to start here, giving all of my condolences to what's happening right now in the Lone Star State in Texas, in Kirk County. In Texas, we have at least 95 people who have passed away across 6 counties in the Lone Star State. Folks are reporting that at least 75, including 27 children, have passed away. I wish I could say we're out of the thick of it, but we're not. Serious flood watches remain. There's much to discuss here. My crew is going to rock with me. We have the one and only political commentator, comedian, and the host of the Bituation Room podcast, Francesca Fiorentini. How are you?
Hey, I'm okay. Another week in hell, truly. I'm here in LA. There's massive ice raids happening all morning. It truly is an occupation. And everyone just kind of got to go to work and be like, cool, everything's normal. Life, I guess, is normal. But so good to be on with you, and nice to see you, Peter.
Yes, we have Peter here. We adore Peter so much. Peter, how you feeling?
I'm okay. You know, Clay, we were chatting on the editorial call that I wish we could be chatting about how Trump is meeting with Netanyahu right now, a man who is singularly responsible for so much death and misery in Gaza. I wish we could be talking about Trump's taco tariffs that have once again just destabilized the global economy, but we can't. We have to talk about dead kids in Texas. It's very sad, but I think this is important.
You know, I was thinking about this as we were talking before the show, that there's so many things going on, and there's some clips that I want to play, but there's been this language of shrinking government, that we have to shrink government and we have to have all of these cuts and blah, 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 blah. But shrinking government, that often means harming the most vulnerable people. That often means that the most poor and the most vulnerable are going to be impacted by it. That means the average everyday American is going to be hurt by this shrinking of government. And I want to remind folks that right now, Texas is going to need FEMA. And they've been shrunk as well, too, to bring down this waste, fraud, and abuse. Now look who's being abused right now. Look at what's happening right now. I believe the FEMA budget is 0.5% of total federal spending. And we're going to need that right now for these people. The military budget is $850 billion, right? Yep. But there was no shrinking of that. So as Don was calling out earlier this month, as many of us were in independent media, this is going to have real life repercussions. And I'm not saying that a flood wasn't going to happen. Shrinking of government, waste, fraud, and abuse cuts didn't cause the flood. But where we're at right now, we don't need to be here. And that's what really pisses me off. No matter Democrat, Republican, any of that, there are people being harmed because there weren't enough folks on the ground or enough people employed with the National Weather Service to let them know what was coming. Mm-hmm. This is only July. This is only July. What's next? Planes falling out of sky. We're about to hit hurricane season. So everybody concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse. Is there more money in your check? Is your healthcare better? Are you paying less in taxes? This is a result of the shrinking of government. It pisses me off.
And it should, Clay, man. I appreciate you starting off on that foot, because it really should piss us all off. I mean, I've been calling this the I hope you're rich regime, because that's all it is. It's, I hope you're rich enough to not need any SNAP benefits, rich enough to not rely on Medicaid, but tens of millions of Americans, hardworking Americans, are not, rich enough to be in that. And let's be honest, when it comes to these kinds of climate-induced events, which have everything to do with income inequality, with too many billionaires, with the fact that they get tax write-offs on their private jets. That was set up in the first 2017 tax cuts. Now that we've made those permanent after last week's, big fugly bill, now these are the same people that are emitting so much more carbon than you and I, than average people, and certainly, poor folks or people around the world, majority of whom do not emit that much carbon. And then what happens? These once in 100-year floods are starting to be much and much more frequent. And, the victims of these floods, they're not necessarily rich or poor. I mean, there were these camps, these Christian camps. I think they were fairly well off. I mean, it was like, a well-established camp, and these poor children who saw their loved ones, their friends, be taken by this flood in the middle of the night. And you're absolutely right, Clay. The call didn't go out. There was a delay in the emergency response, and we'll talk about that. But in terms of knowing whether or not, this was even happening. That being said, a foot an hour, what is it, 25 feet in 4 hours? I mean, this is unheard of. So we better start believing in climate change and stop believing in these nihilist cynics that are running our government right now that say, if you die, I don't know, God's will or whatever, thoughts and prayers.
And Peter, can I just add too, let's be clear. We're seeing this happen in Texas, and it's heartbreaking. But don't think this can't happen in your area. Yep. There are many cities across the country that are below sea level, including some parts of New York City, right? That we should all have a collective moment of pause. That this, just because it's not just a Texas thing, it is a nationwide thing that many of us can be impacted as we are in all these natural disasters. And I say it's political malpractice. That's what I say it is. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, Clay, we were chatting earlier today about how there's a certain portion of the MAGA base that's been able to convince themselves that Republican austerity will never come for them. Put another way, the leopard will never eat their face. And what we're seeing in real time, not just with these horrific floods in Texas, but as Francesca said a second ago, with Trump's big fugly bill, unless you are a billionaire, unless you're a Peter Thiel type, the leopard is coming for your face. The austerity is coming for you. And it might be in the form of the 17 million folks who are going to lose healthcare shortly after the 2026 midterms. It might be in the form of a flood or hurricane, because the NOAA has been gutted, because FEMA has been gutted, because the National Weather Service has been gutted. You are not safe. This type of sociopathic, hard right conservative austerity will come for us all, unless you are very, very lucky and were born into the tippy top of the top 1%.
Mm-hmm. Let's play a clip here of a meteorologist basically predicting this mess that we're in right now and really slamming Trump's cuts to the National Weather Service. It was called out. Listen to this.
Listen, I've been on this, since 8 o'clock this morning on social media, and there is a lot of anxiety out there because you don't see it turning, right? When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn, all right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the Northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year because of the cuts, the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership. And this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country. All right. But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded.
Wow. Wow. Simple prediction. And then through all of this, Cancun Cruz, remember that? Good old Senator Ted Cruz? Well, he was reportedly pop dipping and spinning on a European vacation in Greece. According to the Daily Beast, he was spotted in Greece with his wife on Saturday evening. That was the day after the camp announced more than 20 girls had gone missing in the floodwaters. A day after, right? He was with his family and a lone security guard, according to eyewitnesses. One eyewitness said, as he walked past us, I simply said, 20 kids dead in Texas and you take a vacation? He sort of grunted and walked on. His wife shot me a dirty look. Then they continued on with their tour guide. So he eventually makes it back to Texas, and his team releases a really bizarre statement and says a bullshit piece published by a bullshit rag outlet with no credibility and with no regard for the tragedy in Texas. The senator is on the ground in Texas and arrived as fast as humanly possible.
Not a denial. Not a denial.
And he goes, and they say, and I explained all this to their two-faced reporter. Two-faced? This is a statement from a United States senator? Yep. I mean, the publication didn't lie. They said you were out there. A random person knew about this horrific story of these children at Camp Mystic, and here you are. I mean, we got Cancun Cruz, we got vacationing
Trump golfing all weekend.
Exactly, and here it's just shameful. No,
but and this man will come back and tell the American people he's a Christian.
Oh,
come on! These are kids at a Christian camp. These are kids who were praying in their final moments. I mean, it's so terrifying. It's truly terrifying. And this dude's out there just perusing the ruins, which I think is very ironic as he peruses the ruins of another empire, just as the United States is starting our descent. There's something very fitting about that. Cancun Cruz at least had the decency to just put on a little bit of a costume, give me some Marx Brothers glasses, give me a fake mustache, give me something, do something, dress in drag. I don't care. You can do it in this case. Just be a little bit more ashamed. I mean, my God, if you're a tourist, you're trying to take, your vacation too, and you suddenly run into Ted effing Cruz after you read his horror story that morning. Yeah, you should go to the first and every news outlet that wants to hear about it. It's wild. It's so shameful.
It is. I'm trying to think, what would Ted Cruz's drag name be? I'm just not sure. I think he would definitely get a sachet away. I think he would get that. But I'm
we've given him Cancun Cruz, which already could be dressed up. I mean, I think two more things need to be mentioned about the Texas floods. Number one, I'm here in LA. We are just a few months after massive wildfires destroyed two, huge communities, displacing hundreds of thousands of people and destroying tens of thousands of homes that have yet to be rebuilt. Donald Trump effectively blamed everyone in Los Angeles for these fires, except for Mel Gibson. Of course, he gets a pass, but everybody else were blamed. He was here for 4 days. He didn't even take the time to visit the Altadena community that was completely ravaged and leveled. He was here for 4 effing days. We're talking about a 30-minute drive. Okay. This is someone who says, oh, they want to rebuild. Let them rebuild. It's fine. And it's all about regulation. Meanwhile, his tariff war and his ICE Gestapo war on Los Angeles, both of those things are deliberately stopping the rebuilding from happening as construction workers are being deported, as tariffs are making all the building material that much more expensive. Homeowners are being crushed. Renters are being crushed. So let's just take it to Texas because, Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, Ted Cruz, they've done everything for the MAGA movement. They are helping out. What more could they possibly give? In some ways, it's ironic because Trump, if he even gives any FEMA money, we will see what happens. But it's like they can't be squeezed or laundered or extorted anymore into relief efforts the way that he tried to do. And was not successful in doing. There was lawsuits back and forth, but with the state of California over here in our wildfires. So this is where we're at. The mob boss gets to say whether or not you get to rebuild, whether or not you're loyal enough, and whether or not he will help your state out. That's where we are.
I've always said Trump is a low budget mafia boss. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah.
There's just a mind meld that's happening on this show because Francesca was also about to bring up LA. And what I was going to say is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And what I mean by that is you all may remember that in the immediate aftermath of some of the LA fires sparking, the entire conservative media apparatus latched onto the fact that LA Mayor Karen Bass was overseas in her official capacity attending a wedding in Ghana.
Yeah.
They treated this like it was Watergate on steroids. She flew back immediately. She was on the phone, on the airplane, handling logistics, but it wasn't good enough. She was persona non grata. She was the biggest villain in all of American history. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then consider the reaction now when Ted Cruz is in Greece, not in his official capacity. He's on vacation with his wife and kids. And if the Daily Beast reporting is correct, he took his sweet time to get back home. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If Karen Bass attending a wedding in Ghana is original sin, is the worst political crime in American history, okay, we need to have a talking to with Ted Cruz.
And she attended that wedding in Ghana with the presidential delegation. Like she was on official, she wasn't on vacation. She wasn't on vacation just visiting Ghana. It was official business work. But I have a drag name for Ted Cruz. Cruella de Cruz. How do we like that? Cruella de Cruz. I like it. All love to Glenn Close and Cruella, but I'm just saying.
I think that's really good.
Cruella de Cruz. I mean, you would think it's National Lampoon's A European Vacation. I mean, it's crazy. But as I've said before, he ran for Colin Allred challenged him for a senator. Colin Allred's going to run again, but he won't be challenging Ted Cruz. To the folks out there, if you're tired of this, are you going to reelect him? That's what pisses me off, that I see too many people getting rewarded for bad behavior. And I say it over and over. I was telling you earlier, Peter, in New York, we vote you out. We vote you out. Get out. We've had Giuliani was mayor of New York. Bloomberg was independent.
If November, bodes well for people who want real progress.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that I hope that he's not going to be rewarded for this bad behavior. So all of my just love and condolences goes out to everybody who's been impacted by this horrible flooding. And we have hurricane season coming just around the corner. So sadly, it's not over. And I just hope they can be held accountable.
Can I just say one last thing, which I think, to bring it back to what you first said, Clay, and what you guys were talking about, is that I think if COVID proved anything, and I know we don't like to talk about COVID. I know nobody wants to remember those years. I know we want to pretend it's still not out there. But it's that government does have a role to play. And when these once in a lifetime or twice or three times in a lifetime, whether it's a pandemic or a natural disaster that is, again, fossil fuel induced, when those things inevitably happen, the government should have a role to play. I was here and I remember I was like a month into COVID, And these two people with hazmat suits walk down and start handing me literature about, the spread and how to save yourself. I'm like, what? Is the government doing something? No, they were Scientologists, people. They were Scientologists were more organized than the U.S. federal government. And the only time the U.S. federal government is organized, and let's remember what 2020 was like, is when it's to crack the skulls of protesters. It's when it's to crack your skull. It's when you actually want to exercise your First Amendment right, whether it's about Black Lives Matter or whether it's about standing up to defend our immigrant neighbors. They will have all the money in the world to crack your skull. But when it comes to saving us from a pandemic, from a mask, from a test, from, an air filter that we should all have, no. They're nowhere to be found. And that's the same thing with these kinds of climate change induced natural disasters, right? They're nowhere to be found. And so ultimately, we are all we've got, which is sad and scary. But also, let's remember, we're pushing for a country where government actually does have a role to play, where, yes, as Clay mentioned, it's a drop in the bucket, man. We gave up our HIV research. We're on the cutting edge of a vaccine for HIV that was all gutted under Trump's regime, right? All of it. And what was it? A drop in the, however many, $10 million. Oops. And a vaccine. Are you kidding me? So let's remember, government can be good for people. That is what we're building for. And if you think the government overreach happened under Democrats, oh boy, come to LA, live for a moment here, because it is nothing but overreach. And say hello to the surveillance state of Palantir that we all know is tracking not just immigrants, but all of us.
Well, the Scientologist, shout out to Tom Cruise. Mission Impossible, baby. Mission Impossible.
They did it.
I never even met a Scientologist. I'm an East Coast dude. I never even met, so I don't know. All I know is Leah Remini, talking about some folks. So That's
right.
All right, so let's go on to we got some rich people fighting. It's like Alexis Carrington and Crystal Carrington from Dynasty, but it's Trump and Elon. They're fighting. It's a cat. It's just cat scratching. So Elon Musk has said that he's going to start a new political party. I guess he's going to be the Green Party of 2025. He's forming a new political party after his fallout with Donald Trump. So there was a bit of a funny breakdown about this political party mess. Let's play this clip on Elon Musk and his polling. It's a bit long, so we won't play the whole thing, but listen to this breakdown.
This entire thing makes very little sense to me. It makes about as much sense as selling sand in the desert. What are we talking about here? What is the size of Elon Musk's base? Well, I calculate it to be about 4%, just 4%, 1, 2, 3, 4% of all voters. What is that base made up of? Well, it's those who view Elon Musk favorably and the GOP unfavorably. We're talking just about 4% of all voters out there, because it turns out most of the people who like Elon Musk already like the GOP already. That is, they already have a party for him. In my mind, there is just no base for Elon Musk's third party in the electorate, at least initially speaking.
All right. When we talk about third parties,
let's bring it down. Okay, let me throw this out here. I could be wrong, and the Lemonheads may not agree with me. So over the past 25 years or so, when we've seen third parties come up, it's always had really a negative impact on the liberal progressive side. The Green Party, whatever Cornel West was doing, Andrew Yang, all this kind of stuff. So here's my thing. Not a fan of Elon Musk at all. But I feel like if he does this and puts money into it, he wouldn't win, of course. But it might just shave off a few percentage points of the MAGA cult of the Republican Party. And all we need, kind of like with Ross Perot in 1992, all we need is a few percentage points. And that could maybe shift the House, maybe shift the Senate, have an impact on the presidential election. I mean, I'm here for it. If you crack MAGA just a little bit, maybe just that could work in our favor. Folks who want to be able to go to a doctor's office and not have the government in there. Or, maybe that could be somewhat of a good thing, not for the win, but just to disrupt that MAGA cult. I don't know. What do you think, Francesca?
Okay, here's my thoughts on that. I think that is possible if Democrats do not touch Elon with a 100,000 meter pole.
Agreed.
Like, you leave this man, you drop this man. If he tries to recruit you, You do not answer his calls. You do not tweet back at him, because what's been happening is that after Elon and Trump had their breakup, some Democrats who were actually very favorable towards him before, towards Elon, Representative Ro Khanna is one of them. He's in Silicon Valley. He represents a lot of these guys. He was like, I don't know, maybe we can work with him. Elon's a sensible guy. People who were giving Doge the benefit of the doubt, even though it never deserved it. This is my problem with the other party, right? If he's like, no, I'm a better MAGA. I'm whatever. I'm a MAGA that it's not going to what does he say? Bankrupt our country with waste and grift. And you're like, buddy, your companies get tons of handouts. Okay. You're on socialism for billionaires.
He's a welfare queen. He's a welfare queen. Yeah.
He's a welfare. And so, and he's not going to Mars soon enough. We've all been watching the SpaceX flights just immolate before they go anywhere. So that's my concern, is that sometimes Democrats will give people too much credit. In fact, all the time, our leading establishment Dems give people too much credit for breaking with Trump. Look, it is so easy to break with Trump. The guy is volatile and he's a fascist. So there's that. Now, Musk is a fascist. We saw those salutes, okay? And he's volatile too. Do not touch him. Let him pull off voters and sit in his own stew. So I'm not opposed, that I just worry that too many Democrats are going to give him credit.
Yeah. Peter?
Clay, I love your optimism. Francesca, I love your cautious optimism. I don't know. Elon is obsessed with DEI. I want to introduce another three-letter acronym to his lexicon, DOA. I think this is dead on arrival. I don't see this going anywhere. Yeah. I'm going to crib some language from a friend of mine, John Gans, who's a great writer, great poster on Twitter too. He said, Elon Musk is speed running Ross Perot, which is to say he's on speed. Allegedly, of course. Yeah, I think that what we've seen from Musk over the course of the last 2 years is first him alienating every single Democrat across the entire country, all of the folks who used to buy his cars, who used to buy his products, and now he is just recycling that exact same alienation process, but with folks on the right side of the aisle. And I don't know who he possibly could have left. I think it was CNN's Harry Enton a second ago who said he is 4% support nationwide? Yep.
Well, that's even just a guess. That's like, who still maybe likes Elon, who's not more loyal to MAGA than to Elon? I mean, it's fun to let him fight, whatever. My whole pitch is like, let's do our thing. Let progressives, let leftists, let Democrats, let liberals, anybody, all the big tent, figure out what the hell we're going to do. Because this is my worry, is that you've also got senators like Ruben Gallego of Arizona, who's like supposed to be kind of a change candidate, given Kirsten Sinema is who he was replacing. Yeah. And he's taking meetings with big crypto billionaires as well. I think it was Andreessen that he was fundraising with. And this is dangerous, y'all. Messing with AI and crypto, and this is just like full disclosure, because a lot of our favorite Democrats do take money from those industries.
They do.
We need to hold them accountable, because these are industries that ultimately do not believe in humans. Let me repeat. They don't believe in humans. They don't believe we should work or be paid. Right? They don't believe in our labor. They don't believe in our intellectual property. They believe that they can put a massive data center in our communities that pollutes our air and water and, noise space, right? And they can be not held accountable for that. Meanwhile, the amount of like climate damage that AI does, everyone stop asking Grok. I just want to say, don't ask Grok anymore. Give Grok a fucking break. Don't ask Grok. It takes so much fresh water to cool down data processing centers. Yes, fresh water. It's terrible for the environment, let alone replacing all of our jobs. And yes, all of our jobs. So this is my problem with the whole, like, maybe tech billionaires are good.
Real quick, Clay, just to piggyback on Francesca's point, when she says that these mega billionaires don't believe in humans, are not fighting for the human race, she's not being facetious. She's not being hyperbolic. No. I encourage you all to Google after the show Peter Thiel's recent sit down with Ross Douthat over at the New York Times. So Ross, who's a conservative writer, he's a talented writer, but I don't agree with him most of the time. Ross puts a question to Mr. Thiel, and he says, just simply, should the human race survive? There is a 10 to 15 second gap of silence. No answer from Peter Thiel. Watch it for yourself. I'm not exaggerating. Like, these people genuinely view their destiny is to build AI and then upload themselves into said AI. It's very dark, very weird, and very scary.
And listen, let's be clear. With the big BS bill that's come out, it is terrifying what they're doing around AI. They're basically saying no regulations, just let it let loose, let it do whatever you want to do. And again, I was saying this earlier on the show, as you know, as Scott Bessent is talking about, well, you're not going to need to be on Medicaid because we're going to bring back manufacturing jobs. How are you going to do that? You got the AI jobs. How exactly you're going to do that? You got the AI jobs that it's going to wipe out all of that. They have no investment in jobs, but they do have an investment in kicking you off of Medicaid, kicking your auntie off of Medicaid. As again, the Alexis and Crystal Carrington of 2025 are bickering back and forth. That's the only thing about the girls fighting, as the kids are saying, is that it's like you said earlier, Peter. There's some real shit going on, and you got these two rich, powerful people fighting. They're stroking each other's egos, and next week they could be back on the same page again.
Oh, yeah. They're Benefer. They're the Benefer of billionaires. They will be back together. They're gonna get broken up. Like, ultimately, they are on the same side of the class war, and we are not on that side. I do want to say though, Clay, the one good / not awful thing about the big effing bill is that the 10-year moratorium on any AI regulation did not pass.
Thank God it was
kicked out. Thank God. But for sure, they're going to gun for it in a different way, right? They're going to attempt to do this in different ways. I mean, we now know, every weekend, right? There's some new piece of news that now, the GOP is going to try to get across the finish line a bill that would re-gerrymander the United States Congress to not account for all the undocumented people living in the country. Now, this is massively impactful, right? Because there are undocumented people. They live amongst us. They're our friends and family. They are hard workers. People buy, food and labor from them constantly. Whatever you think of like illegals and all that, the fact of the matter is they exist, they live, and our census takes them into account. Why? Because yes, they do use resources and live in our communities and contribute to our communities and rightfully pay taxes. And so the representation based on the number of people definitely matters. And I would argue that there's the Senate is wildly undemocratic. 2 people for California, same 2 people for Montana. There's cows that have more representation than people here in California. But, this is really, really important. This is part of their minority rule that apparently is not it's not going well enough for them. All of the voter suppression that they do anyway is not good enough for them. Now they want to say, okay, we're just going to nix anyone we imagine is undocumented. Let's just expand that. Anyone who's said a thing I don't like on social media, we'll add them, and we'll give a bunch of new legislators to these red states where I'm in favor of, and take these legislators away from blue states where there's, Democratic socialists. We're really in the sunken place here.
Yeah, deep in it. Shout out to Jordan Peele. We are deep in the sunken place. And, speaking of that, so the Epstein files, listen, they're saying,
listen,
what kills me about this is that after months and there's no Epstein client list, right? After months and months of hype, Trump's own attorney general, Pam Bondi, swore up and down that she had the real Epstein files were coming and she would expose it all and the client list and the blackmail and the big names. It was coming soon.
She said they were on her desk. They were on her desk.
But when the Justice Department drops its memo, they say nothing. No client list, no bombshells, no raw info. Just it's nothing. You had Kash Patel, the very ones that they were accusing
Bongino.
folks, right, slow walking the release of the Epstein files, and now there's nothing. Now I wonder why. I wonder why there's nothing there. I wonder why. And of course, the press secretary, Ms. Levitt, spoke about this, being grilled by Fox News. Okay.
Welcome to the resistance, Fox News.
Yeah, welcome to the resistance. Check this out.
Follow up on that, Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Okay. Lion Levitt. just Lion Levitt. And I want to be clear. Let's not forget that Trump and Epstein, they were close. They partied in the same circles. And at one point, Trump even joked that Epstein, quote, likes beautiful women on the younger side, unquote. Right? So now we're supposed to believe that his DOJ, they're the ones bringing justice. It is, woof.
Don't make me tap the sign. Don't make me tap
oh,
the
Lord,
sign.
have mercy.
Don't make me tap the sign. I'm sorry, Lemonheads. Are you guys ready? You guys ready for my sign? First of all, I usually... okay. I usually reserve this one for the Piers Morgan show, but you guys get it because every time I get interrupted, I'm just going to do this. But look, here's the deal. They weren't just close. They shared girlfriends. Okay. That was according to said girlfriends. That was according to ex-girlfriends who were like, Trump and Epstein had a competition between them on who could get more women, and they really wanted me rope me in, like they wanted me to date Trump or they wanted me to date Epstein, and it was creepy and it was weird. This is documented. Michael Wolff has well documented this. Also, we know that Trump, the reason I hold this sign up, I know it's silly. Who was president when Epstein's vault was raided? Anyone? Donald J. Trump. Okay. What was in Epstein's vault? We don't know. But according to journalist Michael Wolff, who interviewed Jeffrey Epstein many times before he committed suicide or whatever happened, right, that there were photos, incriminating photos of Donald Trump in that vault. And there was likely blackmail on many powerful figures and celebrities. So here's just the bottom line of this story is MAGA lies. Trump lies. His stooges lie. And so if you're MAGA and you're watching this, know that they lie. That's just baseline. The second thing is like, I don't know what actually happened. It could very well be that Epstein committed suicide. This is clearly a joke, right? But these are people that run around constantly steeped in conspiracy theories, no matter who's in office, right? Biden does a thing, it's a conspiracy, right? Obama does a thing, it's a conspiracy. Well, now they're the deep state. Now they're on the inside. Now they have the files. And so if they're saying, I mean, this is funny. It's like, if he actually did kill himself and everything is like no foul play, then you have the intelligence and that's it. That's your story. That's your story. Guess what? You have access to all the files and that's your effing story. Do I personally believe that? Not really. I'm going to tap the sign. But again, it is just funny. It's like, oh, now you're on the inside. You can't play the whole like, they're the deep state. No, man, you're the deep state. You have access to the intelligence.
Peter?
Yeah, first, I hope that Caroline Leavitt isn't suffering from vertigo after that spin. But more to the point, yes. Clay, I'm gonna circle back to something I said to Jennifer Welch of the I've Had It podcast, good friend of the show this morning. I don't particularly care if there are or aren't Epstein files. I don't care if the administration is telling the truth and they don't exist. I don't care if they're lying and they're not releasing them because Trump is implicated in some crime. Why do I say that I don't care? Because we know for a fact that there are scores and scores of young women who are trafficked, who are traumatized, and who are abused. And what MAGA has done, and what Donald Trump in particular has done for a decade, is treat these women like memes.
Yep.
Like toys to toss out when he's bored as red meat to his base in order to inflame them and get them angry about name your group, whether it be Democrats generally or the quote unquote globalist elite or the wink wink nudge nudge Jews. He has no sympathy. Donald Trump Jr., all of the president's loudest sycophants, they don't care about what happened to these women.
No.
They have used them as pawns, as I said, as memes, as toys, whenever they're bored.
But and Peter, let me just bring it in. Like one of the biggest testimonies that convicted Jeffrey Epstein was from Virginia Giuffre, who was also trafficked by him and Ghislaine Maxwell. She took her own life. Just like 2 months ago? She committed suicide. This is someone who actually committed suicide. I mean, they do. What's interesting and what's very telling about the way the right likes to engage in discussions of sex trafficking and abuse is that they actually are just interested in it for the titillating aspect that they think. Seriously though, right? They're not, like you said, they don't care about the victims. They don't care about making them whole. They don't care about protecting their identities or protecting their livelihoods or talking about survivors. There are so many actual child abuse organizations in this country that are like, hey, over here, work with me, donate me, money. I could use the help. Right wingers aren't interested in that. They just want to talk about it. They just want to talk about sex crimes and sex trafficking and abuse. And you're like, buddy, I'm pretty sure this is more about you and your fucked up little kink than it is about actually helping. Truly.
Can I say this too? One of the things that Trump said when he was running for president again is that he's going to protect women. Remember that?
Yeah.
He said, I will protect women. I will protect women. And his basis for that is that he would protect women from these trans people. That these trans people were waging a war on women. They are making the lives of women less safe, right? And here you have these Epstein files. Obviously, from what we know, there were women, girls being assaulted in this. So this isn't about protecting their own. It's about managing PR and hoping that the public forgets. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. You don't care about protecting women. You don't care about.
He's asking for a pardon,
right?
He's not, and Trump is not opposed to it.
He's not. I mean, who knows what will happen with Diddy? I don't know. But show me the record of you protecting women. I think about the young woman in Georgia who was brain dead, and they kept her alive until she gave birth. Brain dead. How are women being protected under Trump 2.0? Show me. And so when I hear there's nothing, move on, there's baseless theories from his Department of Justice, I mean, come on. You don't care about women. You care about yourself. And then I think about the women who stand by him because of abortion or because they didn't want to vote for another woman. They didn't want to vote for a white woman or a black woman who was more qualified, right? This protection is a lie. It is a lie. And they use this idea of womanhood, that it is under threat, that it is being destroyed. And what are we going to do? And once upon a time, I'm a bit of a historian. I wrote a book called The Grift. It was the scary black man post the Civil War that was going to attack all of these delicate white women, right? And it's the scary, remember, they're rapists, they're murderers, the scary immigrant that's assaulting all of your children. And that was the scary trans people coming into your bathrooms and taking over. And we got to protect you from them. And we'll put policies in place for them. But what are you doing here? Because we all know something went down. So I want folks to really understand that. Tell your people that. Tell your fellow white woman who voted for this bullshit. They don't care about women. And you have back to Cancun Cruz, as children are dying at a non-denominational Christian school, you're touring Greece. Show me that you care about the children. Show me in policy. Maxwell Frost was just speaking out, saying, can we play that clip? I know we're going all around, but this all ties together. Maxwell Frost and hearing, talking about allowing children to die via gun violence. Listen to this.
Because you need the health insurance versus the right for profit.
Yeah, see, they say they're pro-life because they want the baby to be born, go to school, and get shot in the school. Die in the school, die on the streets. No. That is what they say.
I'm not going to say anything, but you've gone over the cliff.
I moved to strike his words.
Over the cliff.
Good for you, Maxwell.
You're going to be quiet, but you've gone over now.
I meant every word.
We are going to strike your words. But on the other hand, it might be good to leave your words. Might be good to leave your words. Because that's how you feel. But you are not going to come into this room and impugn our integrity. You will not.
Oh, they just took health care away from millions of Americans, their integrity, to
We
give
are
a tax break
pro-life
to billionaires.
people from conception to natural death. Most of us are.
Most of us.
And don't you come in here and say, we want to preserve life so people can get shot.
That's what I've seen.
And I want to remind people, Maxwell Frost, we could take
Are
it
you
down.
through, Miss?
Girl, you're through. that was some weird aggression. That felt, let me not even go there. I didn't like her tone. That was some, he's somebody who survived gun violence. He's seen gun violence.
Yeah.
He represents Florida's, I believe it's the 10th district. He survived it. That's what I'm saying. Show me the protection of the women and children. Go ahead, Francesca.
No, I mean, I think just to your point about protecting women, I do think it is racialized, right? I mean, it's always been, reproductive rights in this country have always been racist. You know, I think of the women who have been charged with murder for miscarriages in the last 6 months, right? And this woman who was kept alive over her family's wishes to give birth to a child that may not live to see a month of life or 6 months or live with severe disabilities. I wonder where they're going to get their health care. Oh no, there's no Medicaid that helps disabled children have a fighting effing chance. They're all Black women. I'm sorry, like, we cannot be blind to the racism in this, is that when Nancy Mace and, Marjorie Taylor Greene and this woman chide people and, oh, how dare you? And, they're rich enough to pay for their abortions on the down low. They're rich enough to avoid, a murder charge for a miscarriage. Absolutely not. That happens to poor women. That happens to women of color. Right. And so this is always the way it's been. And now they're going back to it. And yeah, just adding how disgusting it is in there. And finally, there is a Pam Bondi Epstein connection from before, because Pam Bondi was AG of Florida while all of the charges were coming down on Jeffrey Epstein. And I believe, and maybe Peter and Clay, you guys have better, receipts on this, that she enabled basically a lesser charge, enabled a first plea deal. There was a first plea deal that he was taking that Pam Bondi helped orchestrate. So
with Alex Acosta.
Acosta.
Yes, and who would then join the first Trump administration, if I'm not mistaken, as labor secretary.
Yep, exactly. So there has been and MAGA, these influencers have missed this whole time. It's because your boy was best friends with Epstein, stop barking up this tree. Go bark up another tree. Go find some other conspiracy. This is not the one you want, because this implicates your boy way too much.
And I want to add quickly, the woman that was just speaking, I should have said her name, Virginia Fox. She represents North Carolina's 5th Congressional District. And I felt like a slur was on the tip of her tongue, but we'll just let that go.
Totally.
She just felt it, and she controlled herself. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry, brother.
No worries at all. Clay, a second ago, you were saying that you thought we were bopping around a bit and we were covering different topics. I don't think we are. I think there is actually a real strong theme here that connects all of these different issues. And I just wanted to talk quickly about one of the largest and most vocal special interest groups that supported Trump during, both his run in 2020 and then again in 2024. I'm talking about QAnon, of course. And QAnon's stated goal, right, insofar as they have one that's coherent, is that they want to stop children from being sex trafficked, from being victims of sexual abuse across this country. And I raise all of this because I don't know if you guys saw a couple of weeks ago that the Trump administration decided to axe a very long-standing, extremely successful program that was specifically designed. It was a suicide hotline for queer youth. And if you know anything about sexual abuse in this country, you likely know that queer youth in particular are victims of this horrific type of violence at far higher rates than their straight counterparts. And so why do I talk about this? What is the through line between Trump saying, no, queer kids, you don't get your suicide hotline anymore. No, poor folks, you don't get your Medicaid anymore. No, kids, really in any community across the country, you're not going to get your FEMA, you're not going to get your National Weather Service. The through line is that the GOP of today is a death cult. And I think Maxwell Frost laid it out perfectly well right there. Sure, they're pro-life until the baby comes out, and then they could not give a crap what happens to you. In fact, it really seems like they do everything they can to make sure you die as young as possible.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I saw that story. Trump ended Pride Month by killing a queer youth line. And it's the budget. It's all the budget. It's always the budget bullshit. But
how much do we really think it takes? What's the budget on, I'm going to say 3 million, 1.5 to 2 million a year, if that, right? And same with, didn't they also kill the veteran suicide hotline?
Oh, I
don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Check that. That would, that would not surprise me. That would not surprise me. But this is where we are. So it's not protection. It's protecting the rich. It's protecting the powerful. And sadly, I think what pisses me off is that this is what the base wants. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It is Southern Strategy 2.0. It is really the core of American politics, to look for the other, for otherism, to make you forget the rich, oftentimes white guy at the top that's exploiting you. The reason why you don't have a living wage, the reason why you don't have a good health care, the reason why you have floodwater surging at 20 feet in 45 minutes and nobody was able to tell you isn't because of the trans person, isn't because of the immigrant, isn't because of the DEI, isn't because of the same-sex marriage, isn't because of the queer hotline, it isn't because of abortion, it isn't because of any of that. It's the rich folks at the top exploiting you. That's what it is. And if we could all get on the same page with that, do you know how powerful we could be as a country? We've made this mistake over and over. Go ahead.
And let's be real. That's what Trump ran on. And that's what he still runs on the fumes of, is this idea that the establishment is broken. everyone's lying to you. Politicians are corrupt, and I alone can fix it. I'm this outsider. I'm going to be the strong man to come in. And again, I think that's why the message of someone like Zohran Mamdani, who did clinch the New York City Democratic mayoral primary, is so captivating, because he openly is saying, look, the only way out of fascism is with a real working class agenda, really is to, he even says, redistribute the money. And I know a lot of us are like, redistribute the money. Don't worry. They're not talking about our money. We're not the billionaires. If you're a millionaire, cool. Don't become a member of this show. Put some money where your love is. But it's not us. That's not who they're talking about when we say redistribute wealth. We're saying, yes, redistribute it to a government, whether it's a city government or a federal government that actually works for people and can help people, right? Basic stuff. But so just to say that, like, that's the antidote. Trump ran on the idea that he was, speaking for the working man. And we know it's all BS. Unions have become way more precarious. He's done nothing for them. The trade wars have definitely hurt them, even though some of them are like still holding out hope. I would not. If the attack on the federal workforce and this big fugly bill are any indication, Trump is not on the side of workers. Get that out of your head. He's never been on the side of workers. And we have to have a party that actually is.
Well, I do want to say this. One of the great things about this moment is to have platforms like this, to have platforms like the Don Lemon Show, and to have independent journalists out there where you can get your news and we're going to give you the truth, and you can sound off as well, and we can dialogue and we can all be connected. That kind of connectivity is so important in this moment. And I'm so grateful for the platform that Don Lemon has built. I want to encourage y'all to subscribe. You can join and just make sure you support all of us collectively. We're out here doing this work without some of the guardrails of what some of these major cable news networks do. And Francesca, you have an amazing podcast. How can folks check it out? And let us know what it's about.
The Bitchuation Room podcast. It's a weekly show. I've got comedians and experts and activists and journalists on all the time. Every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Franny Fio is my channel, FRANIFIO. And if you're in Seattle, come see me. I'm doing a live Bitchuation Room with Ijoma Oluo, who is an amazing author. I think you all know and love her. If you don't, you will. That's August 2nd, a Saturday at the Rainier Arts Center in South Seattle. And then on Friday, Laughs Comedy. You guys support comedy, please.
Yes, please.
Good comedians exist. Everyone's got their taste. Don't just settle for Netflix. Go have the experience. Go support comedy, especially comics who are dope and have great politics, like me. August 1st and 2nd in Seattle. Yeah, I hope to see you guys there.
Absolutely. And I want to also say I have my show on Sirius XM 12 to 3. But I want to encourage y'all. I have a new book coming out January 27th. I know it's early, but you can pre-order the book now. Oh, thank you so much. It's called Burn Down Master's House. It is historical fiction. I take the stories of people who have been erased and reimagine what their lives would be like in this in resistance and opposition. It is so timely right now. I'm super, super excited. I'm already getting word that it's going to be banned. So I can't believe I'm getting that in advance.
Already
this
winning.
Is crazy. But you can pre-order wherever books are sold, bookshop.org, Barnes & Noble, Burn Down Master's House. Pre-order it now. And Strand Books has a special, strandbooks.com, to pre-order signed copies, so you can do that as well. And I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. I'm so grateful to be here and to be able to bless the mic, and I hope Don is having a good time. We're so excited for him to come back. We're so excited. And I nominate. Who do I nominate to be a sour lemon? I don't know. Maybe it's only Monday. I don't know. But Pam Bondi's up there. Pam Bondi's somewhere up there. Pam Bondi.
Oh yeah.
Peter, we love you, brother. How can folks can folks follow you?
If they want to, sure. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Google Peter Rothputz. You can find me. Otherwise, you'll see my ugly mug here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Jack Cocciarella of YouTube and Twitter fame will be on with me. Maybe we'll have another guest or two. But first, or rather last, Clay and Francesca, thank you both so much for filling in. Clay, you in particular, I hit you up at the last minute. You were Superman, saying you would host not just tonight, but the 10 a.m. show too. And Francesca, I adore you. You are so funny on Twitter, so funny on Blue Sky. longtime internet oomphy crush, thank you for joining us and for helping us carry what should have been a very dark show, and what I suppose was a dark show, but I feel like this was group therapy. We got through it together.
Dude, it always is. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Have a good day. Be safe. And we'll see Don soon. We can't wait.
Turn this TV off.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never, ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.